Okay. Here we are. Welcome back to Black Brown News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? I'm in a different spot. That's why the video looks different. Yeah. And that's why I didn't have a show yesterday, because I had to vacate where I was at. And just, yeah. My hair looks funny, but that's okay. Anyways, here we are, and it's very low tech right now. Very low tech right now. Very seat of the pants, if you will. Random background, but anyways, hope you all are well. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate you. And let's see. Lots to talk about as usual. All right, all the people are here. Not all the people, but many people. All right, Extra Bulla. Art, what's up? Bella's here. Malcolm's here. People of Rockfin. Anna Mares. Gene William. Old as dirt. But anyways, there's usually a lot of people watching. More people than they let you know, because I know that might sound paranoid, or delusional or whatever, but I actually know for a fact that's what's happening. So howdy to all the people that are watching and not being counted and not making themselves known. Howdy. Thanks, Poppy. Appreciate it. Yep, the nomad life is happening right now. Since my home is no longer there. I'm trying to figure out where my home is going to be, at least for the next, I don't know, year or two. Don't think I'm going back to the old spot, and if I do, it won't be for a long time. So, or who knows? I don't know. I have no idea what the future holds. So I've been put into this trajectory of something totally different is going to be happening for the next year or two. So figure out what that's going to be. But it's only been a month, so I have no idea what that's going to be. And already things are shaping up, differently than I imagined, but whatever. I mean, that's to be expected. Anyways, we have news. There is news. Man, when is RFK going to be confirmed? Anybody have any insight on that? I saw something about a 30-hour rule. They have to vote on it within 30 hours of his confirmation, or the putting forward by the finance committee, something like that. I don't know. Every time I try to do some investigation on when he's going to be confirmed, I just cannot find any answers. And I've heard all kinds of different answers, and I just don't know. But AP said it looks like he was going to be confirmed, as well as possibly Tulsi looks more positive for her confirmation. I don't know. You guys can. People have different ideas about whether these people are for real or not. And I'll let all the prognosticators bandy that about. I don't even really have a. Hold on one second, guys. I don't know. I don't really even need to get something proper to put this on. But we'll start at the beginning. As the saying goes, always start at the beginning. You think Chucky is going to fast track them? He's gonna be the KY. He's gonna be the smooth glide or whatever it's called, extra glide. I don't know what it's called. Home is where the heart is, but how am I supposed to get all my shit in there? Yeah, yeah. True story. Or how am I supposed to get all the shit out of there? That's what the other thing. There's some people are into minimalism and others are into, well, where am I going to store all my stuff? Right? I feel like there's two different people in the world, two different types of people. Where am I going to put all this stuff? And how am I going to get rid of all this stuff? I'm kind of a how am I going to get rid of all this stuff type person. I want to clear the path. I want to clear my view, my vision. I want things to be out of the way. All right. Denver sent me this. If I can only. This is interesting. Well, no lives were lost. Apparently, no animals were harmed in this experiment. But there is a submersible that went to explore the Antarctica's Doomsday Glacier, and the submersible mysteriously disappears. Do you think the Nazis or the aliens that live in Antarctica? Do you think they got the submersible? You know, the people that are protecting the end of the world, the edge of the planet, according to the flat Earth people, the people that are protecting the ice ring around the flat Earth. Do you think they got the submersible? I don't know. Or do you think maybe it was just cold and treacherous? These are all jokes. These are comedy jokes. Submersible sent to explore Antarctica's Doomsday Glacier mysteriously disappeared. A high-tech submersible. It was unmanned. It's a robotic vehicle. Has mysteriously vanished. The robotic vehicle designed to explore the unstable Thwaites Glacier failed to return from its second dive despite having an advanced navigation system. With its signal lost and batteries presumed dead, researchers now fear it may be gone forever, trapped under the ice. A 7-meter long robotic submersible. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I just thought it was an interesting headline. Where did it go? Nobody knows. Will it reappear? The weights come back. That's good. That's good. All right. Well, yeah, that is weird. I don't know. Send this to the conspiracy theorists. They'll probably have some good ones for this. It got too close to the alien pyramid. I don't know. I don't know. In other, I mean, I don't know if you call that climate news, but tangentially applied climate news. This is more. I need this thing to go away. Hold on. This is definitely more climate related. Miami-Dade County is set to become 60% submerged in the next 25 years. This is from the Independent. And I did not read this through, but we'll just kind of look at this for the highlights, or the lowlights, if you will. How huge parts of the U.S. could become uninhabitable within decades, even so-called climate havens. And what do we know about feeling safe from climate catastrophes? We know there is no safe. It's not just Florida and California, from poisoned water supplies to infrastructure issues to polar vortices. Holly Baxter speaks to experts about why the entire U.S. is being threatened by climate change. and why you can't just move to Vermont to escape it. It's no U.S. is no stranger to extreme weather, but the accelerating effects of climate change are pushing some regions closer to the brink of uninhabitability. From oppressive heat in the southwest to rising sea levels and storm surges along the coast, the challenges are diverse, daunting, and interconnected. Masada Siegel, a consultant for FEMA and emergency management organizations, knows this reality well. A Phoenix native and mother of a 9-year-old son, Siegel has seen her hometowns transform into a hostile environment. Last summer, Phoenix experienced 113 consecutive days over 100 Fahrenheit, the longest streak ever recorded. The average temperature was 97 Fahrenheit. In the summer at 116 degrees, you're not laying out by the pool. You're either in the pool, indoors, or in the shade, and then at a certain point, the pool is so hot it feels like you're in soup. Phoenix saw just 4.54 inches of rain last year, 2.52 inches below normal, and the lack of precipitation, as well as the increased heat, has thrown seasonal rhythms out of sync. I don't know, rhythmics? Sure. I stuck that in there. I have a lemon tree that's flowering in January. My lime tree is flowering in January. They're not supposed to flower until springtime. And this is, we know this is happening. We've talked about this many times. People, on everyday people have been reporting on this channel how things have changed in their neighborhoods, wherever they live. Things are very different. Also, people just generally tend to report on the lack of insects, decreased bird populations, etc., etc., and increased what do you call it? Invasive species, I guess, or increased. Some insects and animals decrease, some increase with climate change. So you see less bees, but more ants or more flies. More other kinds of bugs. Way less June bugs or fireflies, but increased. You see less coyotes and bears and more deer, right? So there are winners and losers to the climate change casino. The changes aren't just inconvenient, they're impacting quality of life and mental health. In Arizona, people get depressed in the summer. Well, I would be too if it was 116 degrees. Honestly, if I had to travel from air-conditioned box to air-conditioned box just not to pass out, I would be depressed too. Move to California, where the only thing you have to worry about is earthquakes and maybe having your house burned down. I don't know. But otherwise, it's super comfy here, and you have the ocean. And you can go skiing. You can surf and ski in the same day in Southern California. Siegel adds, let me see. In Arizona, people get depressed, just like people in New York get seasonal affective disorder in the winter. Many Arizonans now spend most of the summer indoors, and chronic vitamin D deficiencies are becoming more common, especially in the south of the state. Mikhail Chester, a climate adaptation and infrastructure expert from Arizona State University, highlights the long-term consequences of these changes. Will things get worse? Yes, they will. I mean, we're already seeing that. One of the simple reasons why things will get worse is because we haven't immediately solved the climate change problem. And now he's about to say something really dumb. More deer with more ticks and the biolab-inspired Lyme disease. Is that where you're going, Poppy? I mean, ticks aren't great. However, I think Lyme disease is man-made. At least the evidence seems to say that it's man-made. I don't know. More GM mosquitoes, yeah. We haven't solved the climate change problem, and we're still behaving in the same way we've done for decades. Well, that is true. If you were going to solve the problem, you would do something different. But we're not doing anything different. and the um, the information infrastructure out there, whether it's mainstream media or alternative media, is doing a really good job of letting people know. Yeah, Lyme disease does it does suck. Uh, the media infrastructure, alternative or otherwise, is doing a really great job of letting people know that there's nothing to worry about for climate change. So, uh, or if there is, it's going to be a long time. So don't worry about it. It's fine. And yeah, the way that we are organized, I'm not going to read this whole thing. It's long. So the way we're organized, we have ourselves organized on the planet, is a way in which we just continue to destroy the planet because we can't. We're stuck in this system. We don't know how to live without all the things that we are told that we need to buy in order to live, which is actually not true. So there, probably the first thing you could do is dispel the myth that this is the only way to live. That cars and computers and washing machines uh, and wearing different clothes every day and all that kind of stuff is the only way to live. Um, but it's everybody's used to living this way, and everybody seems to kind of enjoy living this way. It's pretty comfortable, so nobody really wants to stop living this way because that would be what uncomfortable, right? It would be uncomfortable because people would, first of all, socially, um, you'd be outcast. And second of all, you'd be uncomfortable while you were being socially outcast. And so both of those things together would be like double uncomfortable, right? Double plus uncomfortable. But a few people out there are trying to change this perception. And you can slowly work on it yourself, right? I would suggest just slowly trying to get yourself out of the idea that you need to have all these things in order to be happy, like learning to live with a little bit less or learning to buy fewer things, um, learning to just not rely on certain things in your life as much as you used to, learning to do without modern conveniences can make you a more resilient person, especially when those modern conveniences go away. I mean, what's the what's one of the number one major fears that people have these days, right? Is that this, things are breaking down. The system is going to break down or collapse or stop working in some way, shape, or form in the near future, right? And you know, actually more people than not, I think, would think that it's silly to just assume that, you know, the way things are arranged right now is the way they're just going to continue. Like things won't, that there's no chance that the system will break down or that the grid will go down or things as we know it will stop working. Um, I think a lot more people are becoming convinced that, you know, that the other side of that coin is going to be reality in the near future. So if that's true, if you believe that or accept that as some, a percentage of possibility, right? Like let's say you're like, well, I'm gonna assume that everything is gonna keep working as it is. Um, I'm just gonna live my life as if things are gonna keep working, and that's fine, right? I actually probably the sanest thing to do is just to live as if the things around you are going to keep working the way they're working. But if you know, have a little bit of skepticism in your brain that maybe they won't keep working and that things are going to stop working, and then maybe there's a percentage of possibility out there that maybe you might have to live without these things, maybe for a week or 2 weeks or, God forbid, 6 months. Well, then the most intelligent thing you can do is not just prepare for that, but prepare yourself, right? Not just, stock your garage full of toilet paper and water and, ready to eat meals, or what are they called? Something like that. Anyways, um, there's an acronym for that. Stocking your garage full of stuff isn't the only thing you should do, especially because that garage could get flooded out or burned down, and then you won't have your stuff anymore. The best thing you can do is prepare yourself to live without that stuff. Like that is the most logical, thing to do in your mind and in your body is prepare yourself to live without all that stuff, at least for a little while. Train yourself to live without all that stuff. Where are you going to find water? How little food and water can you live on? How many modern inconveniences can you live without? Uh, you know, try and wean yourself off of modern convenience as much as possible, and then also learn how to grow food, learn how to find food, learn how to forage food, all that kind of stuff. MREs, thank you, extra full. Anyways, that's the end of my little soliloquy right there. One of the people that are out there trying to teach people how to live without all that stuff, and also dispel the myth that we need all this stuff to live, is Robin Greenfield. You guys know who Robin Greenfield is? Look him up on Instagram. I know he's probably on other platforms, but I follow him on Instagram. Right now, he is living without possessions in Griffith Park in LA. And he's doing some really interesting videos on living without all the modern conveniences, and they're quite informative. And you can see, yes, he's in the middle of LA and in the middle of Griffith Park. He is surrounded by convenience and, the opulence, the extravagance of LA and everything that everybody has here, but he's living in the middle of LA and Griffith Park without anything, and he's teaching people how to do it. And I encourage you to do that. Malcolm says, you are literally down that rabbit hole. The end conclusion, no man is an island, make a tribe. Yeah. Make a tribe. Make a tribe, make a tribe. Yes. As repeated. That also would be helpful too, right? It's if you have a community, if you have a group of people who all understand the same things that you do and understand that this may or may not be our future, and that maybe we can, find ways to together build resilience, that would be also very wise to do. Whether you believe in climate change or not, maybe you just believe that everything is going to break down. Maybe you just believe that the way that we've organized ourselves on the planet isn't going to last much longer. Maybe you believe in economic breakdown. Maybe you believe in limited nuclear war. Maybe you believe that we'll have a electromagnetic pulse. What that takes down the grid. Whatever it is you believe, it doesn't really matter. All the same message applies to you, right? Anyways. Let's keep going. The U.S. aid story has a lot of legs. The idea that U.S. aid is funding all kinds of illegal and immoral activities has a lot of legs, and there seems to be every day there's more evidence and new evidence and new allegations of the kinds of things they've been up to. And if you had no idea that USAID was up to this stuff, welcome to reality, right? Welcome to a new understanding of how the world works. Anna Maris says we must create some sort of community bartering system. I think sooner than later. Sure. Absolutely. Did my lemon tree survive? No. No. I think that my elm tree survived. The big trees did. The oak tree was untouched, which was cool. The elm tree got burned, but I think it's still alive. It might pull through. But all the other foliage got absolutely fried. My banana tree got burned. My tamarind tree got burned. My avocado trees got burned. My grapevines got burned. They might come back. The grapevines. The fig tree. It was so old already. I think the fig tree is not survivable. Yeah, not much survived. Let's see. But the lemon tree, or is that? I actually had an orange tree. The orange tree didn't survive, and none of the other little trees I had. So I had a grapefruit tree that didn't. That got burned. But okay, let's move on. Oh, I was talking about USAID. So we'll look at a couple posts about USAID, but this is well, we'll start with this one first. Actually, George Webb thinks that everybody should know this about USAID. People have been uncovering what USAID has been funding. Um, but this is George Webb. He says, and Mike Benz has been doing a lot of uncovering of what has been funded by USAID. But Mike Benz says the bigger story should be that someone named Igor Kolomoisky got $11 billion. 11 billion. That's a lot of money. 11 billion is a lot of money through USAID to pay Chinese bagmen to do biosurveillance on every man, woman, and child in the United States. What? That's a big story. Someone got paid $11 billion to pay the Chinese to do biosurveillance on every man, woman, and child in the United States. So that seems kind of wrong, right? Don't you think? It seems kind of wrong. We'll watch this.
These stories about attention and what stories the media picks up and promotes and pushes is going to be the key to this USAID story. I've talked about Kolomoisky, $11 billion, paying off the Chinese, surveillance on every man, woman, and child. But Mike Benz, 10 times the footprint that I have, has talked about transgender rap groups in Bangladesh for USAID. Transgender rap groups in Bangladesh versus Kolomoisky, $11 billion. USAID predict a surveillance system against the people in the United States with the Chinese government for your genome, for all your calls, all your records, your voting records, to identify all the red in America. Getting attention for the most significant reporting, the juice, is the key, and it's the hardest part of all this.
Okay. I mean, yeah, certainly people find it interesting and titillating, and maybe they might even find it outrageous that transgender rap groups in Bangladesh are getting funded by USAID. Because yeah, but the whole thing with the Chinese doing biosurveillance, which makes the whole like let's be afraid of China, and we're in a trade war with China, and let's worry about China. We seem to be in bed with China on so many things, right? Uh, as he says, biosurveillance, bioweapons, all kinds of things. Modeling platforms like X and probably other ones based on like China's social credit score platforms like WeChat and other things. We're trying to get there with them. We're trying to be like China. So The idea that China is the idea that China is like an enemy seems to be a little bit ridiculous. Oh, Sushi Gang says this is an op. The right wing is not being targeted. Right. Well, sure. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Sushi Gang, yeah. We need actual proof and not government officials saying what happened. I mean, people are showing there are. I see some kind of data and evidence out there. I don't know that all of it is real, but there seems to be some. I don't know. Screenshots obviously are not the truth, but um, I did see. Okay, well, here's one story that I did see. That was it. Politico that didn't pay their people right after the USAID funding got shut down, and so people are saying, well, they didn't get paid because that's who's funding Politico, the outlet, the news outlet. And I would say that's you know, I mean, maybe they didn't pay their employees for other reasons. I don't know, but our government funds all kinds of things, and a lot of them. What is true is that we are funding like media outlets. Absolutely, absolutely funding media outlets all over the world, in the U.S. and all over the world. So I don't know. I don't know that it's totally not. All of it is unfounded. Um, but here's Whitney Webb to give you a little bit of um, perspective on this whole thing, on the USA thing, and we've been covering Whitney Webb, talking about this too. And I think what she's saying is going to be nothing new, but she says, while it is true that USAID is an intelligence cutout that is engaged in financing regime change and other terrible things, so fact it is a fact. I mean, several leaders of other countries have said, like, we don't want, like Bolivia and El Salvador, saying we don't want USAID in our country because these people are running ops, like opposition operations, not they're not here for humanitarian aid, and there's a lot of evidence that they are funding this kind of stuff. It's not made up, Sushi. It's this is not a made up story. I think it's a real story. It's just coming to light. It's coming to light. A lot of people don't understand that this has been going on for a long time, but it's just coming out there. All right, let's keep going. I feel that the independent media focus on USAID being dismantled, it is actually just going to be rehoused at the Rubio-run State Department, is distracting us from the fact that Musk, who is trying to turn X into the everything app that he wants to run more than half of the U.S. financial system, and which is launching payment rails this year, right? They're going to, all the platforms are going to have their own, token or coin or whatever. So, Musk and X and Starlink and Tesla and everything else just gained access to Americans' private banking information via the Treasury payment system. Yes, that should be concerning. Absolutely. The everything app model, embodied by the infamous WeChat in China, is effectively a public-private app used to surveil people's communications and financial activity with often Orwellian consequences. USAID absolutely sucks, but we also need to keep our eye on the ball as big tech oligarchs beget techno tyranny, and will do so very easily if we fail to scrutinize them and pay attention to the things they are openly building. Musk, in his new role, does not have to divest from any business interests, including X, and can easily use Doge or other means to fulfill his everything app desires and king make companies which he owns, controls, or in which he is deeply invested. Oh, don't forget the AI and robotics. I mean, Musk seems to be doing everything, right? Not only does he build electric cars and is in the space program and running Starlink, he's also, using AI, developing AI and robotics and like, what is he not doing? What is he not doing? Um, all right, that's enough of that. Google recently removed a pledge to not use AI for weapons after they've already used AI for weapons. Google removes pledge to not use AI for weapons from the website. Google, they're going to make me say this 18 times. The change was first spotted by Bloomberg. The company appears to have updated its public AI principles page, erasing a section titled Applications We Will Not Pursue, which was still included as recently as last week. Hold on one second. Asked for comment, the company pointed TechCrunch to a new blog post on responsible AI. It notes in part, we believe that companies, governments, and organizations sharing these values should work together to create AI that protects people, promotes global growth, and supports national security. Google's newly updated AI principles note the company will work to mitigate unintended or harmful outcomes and avoid unfair bias, as well as align the company with widely accepted principles of international law and human rights. Sure. In recent years, Google's contract to provide the US and Israeli militaries with cloud services have sparked internal protests from employees. They're already allowing their AI to be used for military purposes in Gaza. The company has maintained that its AI is not used to harm humans. However, the Pentagon's AI chief recently told TechCrunch some companies' AI models are speeding up the US military's kill chain. Kill chain. Isn't that a nice word? A couple of words. Oh, Rich Diana, thanks for the tip on Rockfin. He said, Kev, you'll be much more relaxed once you get your Neuralink implanted. Thanks, man. Oh, yeah, that's Musk, too. Musk is all up in that. You smell the Musk all up in that. Um, right. Yep. Spoonful of plastic in everybody's brain. Everybody has a good heaping teaspoon of plastic in your brain. That's helps the Neuralink slide in easier. Um, oh shit! I didn't mean to do that. I was on the wrong thing. Sorry, Rockfin people. I think you're okay. Yikes! Hopefully, Rockfin did not get. Hey, hopefully, Rockfin is not disrupted. Oh, here we go. If you guys did get disrupted, I apologize. You should be back. Let me know if the stream is back on Rockfin. Here we go. This is where I want to go. This is. Why am I blanking on her name? I know who this is. But I can't. My brain is not working. Um, Anyways, you all know who this is, even though I cannot think of her name right now. Sometimes my brain just like goes all the way out. Anyways, you cannot get a state contract in 37 states of America unless you pledge allegiance to Israel, and this is true. And this would be unconstitutional and probably against a lot of things. Black Bear News is also on Rockfin and Rumble. Yes, Poppy. You can watch it on Rockfin. Why can't I'm just having a block. My brain is blocked. I cannot think of her name. Anybody help me out here? Oh, Abby Martin. Thank you. I knew it was an A. Jabby Martin. Yes. And Mike Pfizer. Husband and wife team. They were all for the COVID sharts. Well, hold on. I'm going to come back and read that. But let's listen to this first. I'm going to come back and read that comment. Here's Abby Martin talking about
when you look at Israeli society,
anti-BDS laws.
When you look at Israeli society, you know, it started off as kind of a socialist project with the kibbutzes, and now it's just turned into a fascist, supremacist state where Netanyahu reflects the true face of Israel, just like Trump reflects the true face of this country. And when it's getting too toxic for even Natalie Portman to be this ambassador to Israel, you know that the tide is turning. But unfortunately, there's so much shit going on. Congress hasn't said anything. They just totally support this, man. And there's weird like BDS legislation trying to criminalize basically dissent, where you have contractors in Texas having to sign clauses, promise that they won't support boycott of Israel in order to rebuild hurricane homes.
What is BDS?
Boycott, divestment, sanctions. It's the movement that Palestinians have asked us to help them to, boycott. And that's what Stephen Hawking was all about. He boycotted scientific conferences in Tel Aviv. So this is what we got to do, and we have to fight our government to stop endorsing these massacres and atrocities.
Well, obviously,
when you look at Israeli society, you know, it started off as kind of a socialist project with the kibbutzes, and now it's just turned into a fascist, supremacist state where Netanyahu reflects the true face of Israel, just like Trump.
Yeah, I think this is an older clip, but maybe I'm wrong. Well, that seems, unconstitutional for another country to control what kind of contracts and what kind of employment even you can get in the United States. Another country, you have to pledge allegiance or pledge fealty to another country, or pledge that you won't engage in any anti-other country activities in this country in order to get a job, or in order to get a contract or a government contract. Sorry, I've got a very unseemly wave happening in the hair. But this is more news. Geez. More weird stuff along those lines of anti-American, unconstitutional, inappropriate, corporate and or ultra-national takeovers of our laws. Brianna Joy Gray pointing out that the United Health is threatening legal action over social media posts exposing them denying claims. What? Luigi put material pressure on United Healthcare to pay out claims by drawing public attention to social media posts about denials. Now United Health is lawyering up to seek retribution against anyone who dares to post about their healthcare claim being denied. What? Well, that is certainly absolutely anti-free speech. They've retained Claire Locke, one of the top defamation law firms in the country, to issue threats of legal action over social media posts about the insurer's refusal to provide coverage. Patience. That is wild. Are they going to threaten legal action over social media posts about them threatening legal action? I don't know. How deep does this go? It's kind of wild, don't you think? Hey, y'all, if you want to support this channel, just like Rich Diana did just now in Rockfin, there are lots of ways to do it. If you like this content coming to you for free 99 Monday through Friday, and you want to keep this content coming to you in the style that it does, maybe with a better background, maybe not quite so unadorned, but if you like the show, you want the show to continue happening, a really good way to do that is to support the show financially. There are lots of links in the description box of whatever platform you're watching on. All the regulars are there: PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, Ko-Fi, Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon, etc., etc. Anyways, lots of you already support the show. You know who you are, and I appreciate you. And thank people at the end of the show. Turin on Rockfin points out that factual truth is an affirmative defense against libel slander. Yeah, I don't know how that kind of legal action is going to fly. But, they seem intent on making the truth or telling the truth some kind of, some kind of criminal act, or at least, anti-community standards act, or, right. Telling the truth is a national security issue, right? Something like that. What else is going on over here on Rockfin? What is this? The Duran reported on a thing called Politico Pro, where Politico sold high dollar subscriptions to government officials and NGOs like USAID. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Right. Well, yeah, they'll try to get it classified as terrorism or something that makes everybody feel unsafe. Are you guys Melania fans in the chats? You guys think she's got some secret superpowers she's waiting to bring forth? She's going to secretly eat Donald Trump in the middle of the night? I don't know. And take over and set us all free? I don't know. All right. Oh, to continue on the ridiculousness, I mean, this is in line with TikTok having to be shut down and or sold off because China. Senator Josh Hawley wants to send Americans to prison for 20 years. Okay. If they download DeepSeek. Wow. Somebody feel threatened by Chinese AI, becoming an even more extreme version of the China he often describes. Guys, China bad. China is super bad, and we don't want to be like China, and we don't want we don't want our information or our, anything about America to become like China or be controlled by China. We don't want any of that, and we're really afraid of that. So therefore, we're going to have to censor all speech and also put you in prison if you do anything that threatens national security, like download DeepSeek or something like that. Anyways, yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Makes total sense, bro. Let's look at before we go. Let's look at Gaza and the fallout from Trump talking about the takeover, the U.S. takeover of Gaza, which it sounds not so great. But here's, if you didn't know that this was actually proposed by Biden in the past, it was proposed by Biden, just not as loudly or vociferously or coherently, I guess, if you can call Trump coherent. The plan to force removal of Palestinians from their land and send them to Arab countries was Biden's idea before it was Trump's. Every single liberal who's acting shocked now was silent when Biden suggested it. I would bet there are a lot of liberals that didn't even know that Biden was like, hey, we support sending them to Egypt. Well, he did. You see, these two parties are the same, and they just do the bidding of the other party. They're both going to the right as quickly as possible. What the Republicans can't do, the Democrats can do, right? And then they pass the baton to the Democrats, and what the Democrats can't do, then the Republicans come in and they do that. And we can, this goes on and on. You can go back through the last, several decades and see where this is absolutely true. When Obama deported more, immigrants than Trump did, but nobody knew about it, then that the Democrats are very, Obama passed Romney Care, which was a Republican healthcare program. But everybody Democrats were like, this is the best thing ever. But if the Republicans would have passed it, they would have been like, this is the worst thing ever. It's wrong. So it only really matters whether it has a D or an R next to it to make it seem cool to whichever side that doesn't understand that they're getting played by their own side. Just keep that in mind for future reference. Thank you. And again, I see people out there. Somebody had a post about, oh, you Muslims, man, that stayed home and didn't vote for Kamala. See what you get now with Trump? And it was like, dude, they didn't vote for Kamala because she was part of the team enabling genocide. So you're saying that somehow people were supposed to vote for genocide in order to keep them from getting genocide. Do you understand what you're saying? Apparently not. You're a full-grown man saying things that even a 3-year-old would go, nah, I don't know. I don't think so. That does not compute. Just wanted to point out what a dumb tweet that was. What a dumb idea that is, to think that voting for Kamala or Biden or whoever was going to save you from something Trump was going to do. No. I don't. How many times do we have to point this out? They're the same team. It's a duopoly. Two parties, but doing the same thing. It's like the choice between Coke and Pepsi. And some people might go, oh, yeah, they're totally different. Not really. They're kind of the same thing, death in a can. And you can just choose, which brand makes your death in a can. It doesn't really matter. When you get, it's like getting your internet or your phone service or your electricity. You don't really have a choice. I mean, there are different companies, but you don't really have a choice. It's pretty much a monopoly, but they try to make you feel like, oh, well, who's my provider? Just letting you know that. Anyways, Trump revives Biden's failed proposal to remove Palestinians from Gaza. The Democrats are not against ethnic cleansing, or the liberals are not against ethnic cleansing. They just want the Democrat to be the one doing it, which is absolutely true. So to all the, people on my Facebook and Instagram timeline that are telling me how crazy and wild Trump is, and as if Biden and, the Democrats weren't really proposing the same shit. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Where was that energy for the Democrats before the election? Where was the energy for trying to get, somebody, some kind of candidate out there who was, opposed to all of this? I don't know. Where's that energy going to be the next time the Democrats are going to be in power and are going to do the same thing, or the next time the elections roll around and the Democrats put up Gavin Newsom or some empty, hollow, right wing, I'll do anything Israel and the corporations tell me to do Democrat. You're going to go, you better vote for him or you're not my friend anymore, and I'm going to unfriend you on Facebook. I'm smart. Sorry if this arrow is striking you. Well, then consider yourself struck. All right. Let's keep going. Jordan is saying China doesn't like Trump's plans to rehabilitate Gaza under a U.S. military force. Although he's saying there's going to be no military there. Jordan is ready to declare war on Israel if Palestinians are forcibly expelled into its territory. That's something. They're saying hell no. And I'm saying hell yes, you should be saying hell no to this. Is anybody going to stand up in the world to this? Anybody? I know it's really not a great scenario, and obviously, bad things would probably come from this, but like, where, I would actually, like, someone out there besides the Houthis sending an occasional rocket into the Mediterranean. Somebody out there, is somebody out there going to stand up to this? Do something about something? I don't, But Jordan is like, yeah, well, I guess we'll do it. I guess we'll do it. Jordan ready for war. Trump's call to clear out Gaza has sparked anger in Amman, with well-placed sources telling Middle East Eye that the U.S. ally is prepared for war. Wow, okay. The warnings come in the wake of repeated statements from U.S. President Donald Trump that he would like to see Jordan and Egypt take Palestinians as part of a move to clean out the Gaza Strip. Well-placed sources in Amman and Jerusalem told MEE that the last thing Jordan wants is war and is eager for a peaceful solution, but they are adamant the Jordanians will close the border if refugees begin to cross into the country. If the Israelis seek to reopen it, that would be a casus belli, one source said. The Jordanians are under no illusion that they would win a war with Israel, but believe that they have no choice but to fight. That's interesting. I mean, they're going to take a stand, whether they are going to win or not. Let's look at a couple of things from James Lee, and then I'm going to sign off, y'all. It is about the end of my time. He's got some thoughts on this plan for the Gaza Strip. Let's watch this.
I'm seeing a lot of manufacturing consent for this plan right now. You know, people saying he doesn't mean it, or it's a 4D chess move, or Trump is totally in control right now. Maybe, but doesn't look like it. So let me just pose this scenario to everybody, which is that if any American dies in Gaza, and it doesn't have to be soldiers, right? She says no boots on the ground, or at least not yet. But let's say a few workers or maybe real estate moguls go over there and start prospecting the land or whatever it is that they do, and one enemy bomb goes off, unalives a few of these guys, whether legitimately or maybe we have a repeat of this kind of incident. Israel is known to do this kind of shenanigans from time to time. Or maybe look this one up right here. Guess which country we're going to blame. My guess, and I'm sure a lot of other people's guesses as well, is going to be this country, which is Iran. And guess who's been trying to get us to go to war with Iran for the longest time? I mean, this article is from 16 years ago, and I could probably go back even further. Guys, I just genuinely don't think this is some kind of 4D or 5D chess game. I think what's going on here is that Netanyahu wants the U.S. to help them clear out Gaza and also go to war with Iran. Tell me I'm wrong.
Okay. Yeah, Gene, on Rockfin, I've been getting a lot of that from my Dem family. The propaganda is contagious, that because I didn't vote for Biden, I'm somehow responsible for Trump getting elected. I don't know. I know. You know, I've heard that too. It's like, no, well, for one thing, I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't vote for either one of these pieces of garbage. That wasn't, you know, there is another choice. But yeah, somehow if you don't like the Democrats or whatever, but somehow you're a Trump supporter or you know, no, that's not logic. No. In fact, I would say the cause for holding the Democrats to higher standards is actually a higher cause than just supporting them blindly. Right? Because if you support them blindly, what you're supporting is a losing cause. The Democrats are not trying to win. They are in support of everything that Trump is doing. If you just looked at his last administration, you would know this. Even though, you know, yes, on the face, they were like Russiagate and impeachment. We don't like this guy. But they supported everything that he did underneath all that. I mean, just that's fairly easy to confirm. Yeah, but the idea that like you just if you don't blindly support the Democrats, no matter how bad they are, it's kind of the thing, like, oh, you didn't vote for Kamala, and now you're getting this from Trump, and it was like, well, wait, you were already getting that from Biden, and you already got total and complete support for genocide from the party that supposedly you were just supposed to blindly support. Like that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So, unless you're going to support something better than what the other side is proposing, then that argument doesn't, holds no water whatsoever. So, it's really ridiculous. Well, Biden didn't run, but the Biden surrogate ran. The Biden, well, and that's the other thing. Blindly supporting the Democrat, the Democrats totally supported, completely, just like incapacitated human being, right? As President Biden, that's Biden, right? He was already showing signs of dementia and not, being altogether there in 2020, right? So you were supposed to blindly support Biden, this, radically right-wing, through his entire career, radically right-wing, notorious liar, right? He's a worse liar than Trump. I'm sorry. Sorry to tell you that. I mean, because Trump at least is an honest liar, right? He actually tells the truth that nobody is supposed to say out loud. But like, Biden is just a fucking liar. and I say that with an emphasis on fucking liar. He's a fucking liar. He lies, he just can't help himself. He just lies, just waking up in the morning. It's just a big fat lie. Anyways, Biden has been a liar his entire career, has been a right-wing Democrat his entire career, and was demented when he was, completely, going downhill when he was elected in 2020. Again, so you're supposed to support this guy all the way through his, administration, and no, he's just a nice old man now. And then they replace his ass 3 months before the election, and you're supposed to support that. Nobody is supposed to say like, hey, this doesn't make any sense. This is wild. And nobody voted for this, right? The idea that you're supposed to support all of that is absolutely psychopathically stupid. It's just, it makes so little sense that, you know what I mean? Like the case for it is the case for incompetence and corruption. I don't know how people are supposed to vote for that. So, again, you're giving somebody this like absolutely loser proposition and saying, oh, you have to support this or else Hitler is going to win. Sorry, that's just not an argument. It doesn't fly. It doesn't make any sense. Now, the case for holding the Democrats accountable to what they're trying to put forth as the viable option to Trump. Now that makes more sense. And anybody who supported going, well, maybe there's a better option, or maybe we can have, maybe we can have primaries, or maybe we can have like better people run, or maybe we can support another person for, office and vote on them, or maybe another party, right? Somebody looking for a better answer than what the Democrats gave you. That person makes more sense every day, all day. And anyways, that's my rant on that. That's my rant on that. That's my rant on that. Y'all know how I feel, and I'm just, if you don't agree, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Agree to disagree. Stop being so mean to Bernie's good friend. Okay, last thing on one more from James Lee, and then I'm going to run away. I'm going to run away. Senator Rand Paul is 100% right. 0 U.S. troops should be sent to occupy Gaza on behalf of Israel's ethnic cleansing. The casualty toll would be catastrophic. Let's listen to this.
Rand Paul, the voice of reason, because he's right. We don't have any business going in and occupying yet another country where many Americans, thousands of lives will be lost. Because I did the math and the numbers are insane. First, Per Trump's plan, we're going to send in possibly U.S. troops to occupy Gaza in order to relocate 2 million Palestinians. It is possible to do this, but it is a massive undertaking. Let's take a historical example, Fallujah, where the U.S. sent in 10,000 troops to fight 3,000 to 4,000 insurgents in a city with a civilian population of about 250,000 people. This took about 6 weeks with 100 plus U.S. service members dying and another 600 plus wounded, which is about a 1% casualty rate of just death and, obviously 6 to 7% of troops injured. Now, if we compare it to Gaza, it has 7 times the civilian population and 10x the number of military insurgent fighters, aka Hamas. So in order to do this mission, we'd probably need to deploy at least 100,000 U.S. troops to Gaza, possibly more, because we're not just dealing with fighting insurgents, we're now relocating people as well. And from what I understand, the combat situation in Gaza would be much more complicated than what we experienced in Fallujah. So if we take a 1% casualty rate, that's 1,000 troops lost. But let's say the number is higher, 5%, 6%. We're talking about 5,000 to 6,000 American troops dying in Gaza. Like, I sort of get the difficulty of the situation. There's really no good option. And maybe this would be preferable to the carpet bombing that we've seen in the last year and a half. But we're talking thousands of Americans dead in order to help Israel ethnically cleanse its population. That is to say, none of this is ideal. I'm obviously not a military expert, so at this point, I welcome the input of the pros.
Okay. Yeah, well, Rich, I know that he's gone, but the problem is that we're going to get, the next election, the next Democratic, I don't know what they're going to try and pull right now. What are they going to do? They have to have a primary. Who are they going to run up the flagpole, and who are they going to force on the populace as the Democratic candidate? I wonder, but I don't. The Democratic Party, I don't think, is going to change. It's not going to change from a corporate right wing disguised as a "we care about you" party. I don't think they're going to change, and unless people demand, now would be a good time. Now would be a good time to lay the foundation for saying, to the Democratic Party, like, we will not, we will not accept this kind of, stuff anymore, right? We're not going to accept your shenanigans. We're not going to accept, people, puppet masters like Obama and whoever, the Clintons and Obama and whoever runs the party. We're not going to accept these people running, these corrupt candidates at us. We're going to, we want something else. That would be the thing to do now. Say, like, the Democratic Party needs a complete overhaul, and/or we're leaving. Everybody's leaving the Democratic Party. We're going somewhere else. We're going to make a new party. We're going to do something, whatever. You like my optimism. We'll have another Hillary is still out there. It sounds like the a trailer, the intro to a trailer about a horror movie, right? Hillary is still out there. All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I don't know if I have anybody to thank, but I am going to end the show. I don't know. Appreciate y'all watching. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, and we'll see you at 12 p.m. Pacific. Thanks, y'all. Just trying to, they changed things around on Rumble, and so now I'm trying to get used to, like, what do I do now? All right. Peace out. See you tomorrow. Appreciate you.